Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here once again. Truly, indeed, it is a glorious day, a wonderful opportunity to be able to stand here to prepare this video for you in hopes that it will be something nice for you. You know, this morning I was awakened by the TV, and they had this show on that helps people. You know, they find people that's going through some changes and they give them a helping hand. It's a wonderful show. It's an expression of what life should be like on an everyday basis. However, they got this lady who had discovered she had kidney problems or something like that that required dialysis. She ended up having to lose her job, and she had, I think 3 kids at least. And she cared about her kids. She said she was buying a house at the time, but that income cut back, so she ended up finding vacant houses where people weren't living in, and they just move in it. Well, they didn't have any furniture or anything to take with them, so they just used the space. Somehow it was discovered, and some of the local citizens working together with some of the programs that assist and help people, they got together and chose this family, singled them out, and they told that story. Story that many, many sisters and brothers of every ethnicity go through every day. And so just to choose these people and do something wonderful to them, some might say, well, it's so insignificant in comparison to the scope of things. But at the same time, it shows how beautiful an act like that is. And since there's such a great need all across the board, then there is a calling for us, for we the people, to exert ourselves in such a way that we can bring joy to the rest of those people, just like this beautiful joy that these folks here are receiving today. It was such a wonderful story. I found myself crying. You know, I just sat up on the side of the bed crying. And what I was crying about is because it is a wonderful story. I know how wonderful that story is. I spent the past 36 years trying to say in some form, some fashion, to get America to listen, to understand that there is a way that we can actually live and experience that kind of life here in America, but not just in America, not just for Americans, but in such a way that the whole earth could benefit from that. And rather than having all the turmoil that we have to experience every day, we could have like heaven on earth. And I really give it in my best shot. I found some things, ladies and gentlemen, what I call truth, that opened my eyes up. I understand where the people of America and the people of the world are mentally, sociologically, and in any other fashion or form that comes from just being alive. You know, we all go through that. We all been shaped and formed, and we are what we are. But that doesn't mean that we have to remain where we are. And in order to make any kind of changes, we got to be striving, we got to want something, we got to, and even that might have some influence. But to make a long story short, when I see people extending that hand of compassion out there, and I think about how the creator of this wonderful earth used that example for me, used that example for you. So when you think back about the times when I was running for office as President of the United States and holding up this same kind of program, because to me, you know, many guys might say, well, that's coming out of my heart. And it is. It is coming out of my heart, ladies and gentlemen. I would not try to lie to you about that. But because it's coming out of my heart, I say it's coming from God. And another reason why I say it's coming from God, because it works for you. Yes, it works for me too. And you know I want that as well. But it works for you. And it works for yours. And yours. And to me, that got to be God. Because human beings just don't treat each other that way. But it's a calling. It's a calling that God is asking us. God is saying to us that we can choose to treat each other that way. And we can have the beauty that we so stand on our knees praying for all the time. It'll just be right there for us. But what we have, ladies and gentlemen, I made some notes I want to call on. You know, we got a major sense of hate in the world today. Hate everywhere, black and white. I mean, there's so, but now hate is not just out of the blue. Hate is set up, is designed, is part of a plan. White people and black people don't just automatically hate each other without any other reason, any other motivating force. We are being used, white people are being used, black people are being used to keep disorder so that someone that we might not even be able to put our hands on it. We've heard all kinds of things about who might be doing it. It doesn't really matter who it is. It's the fact that somebody is doing it. Now who it is doesn't matter. What we going to do? Does it matter if it's a certain people is okay? Or is it not okay? Well, if it's not okay, it doesn't matter who's doing it. We just stop it. If we just stop it. Now what this means that we just stop it? Well, there's a role that we play in it. Now that role that they play, we might not be able to physically or any other way go and stop that, but what we can do is the role that we play in it. We can stop our role. And I got the strangest feeling that if we stop our role, they won't make it. They won't be able to do a thing. That's what I believe. Now, hate, my friends, is a part of an organized structure. Now, we always also got this division between Democrats and Republicans, conservatives and liberals. We got this big split between them. Human beings, they all want the same things. Every last one of them want peace and prosperity and joy of life on both sides. They want their dreams to come true. They want the essentials of life to be guaranteed to them. Not a single one of them want them absent. And yet they're split. Rather than coming together trying to work it out and see how they can make it so everybody can have it, they stay split. So only a few got it. And somebody else, it doesn't matter who it is reaping the greatest reward. Somebody trying to play God. Somebody that's putting God's plan aside, pushing it all aside by putting us some fake stuff before us that we have bought into. Well, that division, even there. Hate is responsible for the shortage in our education, the lack of its availability to everyone. Hate. The reason we don't have health care for everyone from the womb to the tomb. Hate. The reason that we don't have housing for everyone. And clothing. Hate. The reason we don't have jobs for everybody. Hate. Hate, my friends. That's the reason for that which exists between the rich and the poor. Hate. Heaven and hell. Hate. Life and death. Hate. Marriage and divorce. You think about it sometimes, if you will. The early 60s. Some of you might not have been living back in that day, and I know you don't like to study too much history. And I guess I might be able to understand that. History haven't been held up before you as anything that's really significant. But in the 60s, you think about what was going on. There was some strange things going on in the world, especially when it came down to how black people were treated. Sometimes you look back at stuff like that, you look back at the South and you see how those white people hated black people. You see what they would do to black people, how they put the dogs on them, how they would lynch them and hang them up in trees, how they would set them on fire. When you would see how they would hate other whites who had sympathy for what blacks had to go through and what they would do to them, you'd ask yourself, how in the world can hate find such a home in human beings? that would allow them to put bombs in churches, that would allow them to do all kinds of things against another people. Golly. Well, that hate, my friends, is founded on the same thing that everything else is founded on. What is that? It's man. It's a choice that has been made. A choice that you don't want to. You know, you ever thought about how sometimes somebody can tell you how to do something? If you really want to get a good picture of it, think about teenagers. You know, you bring your kids up in a certain kind of way, how you think you want them to be, and you hope they kind of stick to it, and you do all you can. And all of a sudden they start reaching a certain age, and they start telling you, well, we don't actually see it like that. We can see it a different way. You have to, it catches you off guard a little bit. You're, on the one hand, you're excited. Now they can think for themselves. They got a mind, and they can speak. At the same time, you can be taken aback because you figure you've been knowing it all. And now they're saying, I know it too, and I think I want to try my way. And sometimes when you know that their way is kind of crooked, you want to stay there. But then eventually you have to get out of the way anyway. And they go, and you hope, and we all hope that they are successful as they hope. But many times they are, and many times they are not. And so we got this ball bouncing back and forth that we don't even have to deal with. This is why I'm saying, when we say, let's do it man's way. When I say man's way, I'm talking about capitalism. I'm talking about communism. I'm talking about socialism. I'm talking about all these different forms of government would represent something other than that which brings peace. That represents everything other than that brings heaven on earth. So I say, how can you get there? You can't trust the organizations. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut to the chase. Because I can talk forever. I'm going to cut to the chase. Every last one of you are going to have to know God for yourselves. It's not good enough to believe in God. Belief allows you to follow all of these other people. These mega churches, they represent believers. None of them know anything. So they just flocking together, paying their tithes, looking good, giving their offering. Nobody knows a dead blessed thing. And the man that's leading them knows even less. And that allows him to live like a king amongst people who are so poor. Well, I just use that for an example. There's nothing wrong with living like your heart wants to live. All of this stuff is from God. But there's a way to embrace it. And it's the way it was designed. Anytime you step into man's way, you're going to mess up with something, because man's way is going to always be swayed a little bit for his favor. Not balanced. It's going to be swayed a little bit for his favor. And all of a sudden, it has begun. It has begun. But there's one way where we are all connected together. Just like the blood that flows through our veins got us all connected together with life. It is essential and necessary that if we want to experience peace and prosperity and joy of life, we got to be connected and flow and work together cooperatively, just like the blood that flows through our veins. That has got to be our goal. That has got to be our objective. That has got to be what we sit and think and talk and design and plan about. And it's going to be fun. Because all it does, ladies and gentlemen, is frees you. It frees you to be God's creature. It frees you to be what you were made to be. You might have been made to dance, or blow a horn, or play a piano, or sing a song. You might have been made to write a poem, to design some technological advancement far beyond most of the civilization's imagination. You might be able to just wash dishes or make babies and take care of them and teach them, or be in the healthcare profession, or dig ditches, or work with this, or work with that which you love to do, and you would find nothing more interesting if you had your choice. And now being given your choice, that's what you do. Can you imagine a master that creates something like that for you? And when you do it, all it's doing is giving you the joy of your life. And on the other hand, it's connected with that which everyone else is doing. And that itself creates all of the essentials necessary for your survival. And not just that, but every other thing. All the stuff, like traveling, like making cars, like advancement, going to the moon, all of those things that we think about, we thought we would be doing by now, but we got caught up with hate. But we get back on the track. And we can be doing all of that and so much more. But we have to get rid of that hate. We have to recognize, ladies and gentlemen, that there's only one way. It's not Republican or Democrat. It's not black or white. It's not man or woman. It's not old folks or children. There's about one way for peace, prosperity, and joy of life. And that's by the Spirit of God. And that is love. And when we speak of love amongst us, it means doing unto the others as we would have the others to do unto us. And essentially what we have is God being expressed through you and us, each of us, as we reach out and respond to that requirements of others. You can't beat that. And all of that, it's not work. That's not work at all. You're not going to get exhausted. You're not going to get tired. If you get tired, it's because you don't have enough of it to do. And if there's something else required to make it more engaging, then there you are, because heaven is just being and being and being. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for giving me this your time. I probably didn't say the things that I thought I was going to say when I started out, but I'm sure I said those things that was necessary to be said. And I just hope I got the camera recording, because if I don't, man, oh man, oh man. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.
I do.